Have you recently driven over a nail or other sharp object that went into your tire? If that's the case, today's video is for you. Now, years ago, I did a video about tire repair where I used one of these rope plugs. And these are quick, they're easy, you can do it on the car, you don't have to take the tire off or anything. But this is not really the best method, and it is also not DOT certified. So in other words, tire companies really flip and hate this, is probably the best way to put it. So this is one of those quick and dirty things that can get you by, but really you should do it the way that I'm about to show you. So an actual tire repair would be using one of these plug patches. Now, I've done both. I've patched tires, I've plugged tires in the past, but I recently started using these and I thought I'd share with you how to install one of these. Job one is to find the puncture. In this case, it's right here, and I'll mark it off. That way we can find it. But here's something very important with any kind of tire plugging, even with what I showed you. You cannot plug into the sidewall at all. In fact, anything from where this sharp bend goes down is considered out of limits, out of bounds. So the only place that you can install a plug is pretty much across the flat of the tread here. This is well within that area, so it's perfectly acceptable to do a repair on this tire. Now, patch plugs are the desired repair, however, it's a lot more involved. In fact, what we have to do is we have to dismount the tire from the wheel. Something to be considered before dismounting the tire is to mark perhaps the valve stem location on the tire. This way you can get the tire back on at least close to where it was when you took it off to not upset the tire balance, but it's a good idea to check the tire balance after performing this procedure anyway. Now I'm going to remove the offending object. So here's another point, like these plug patches, the orientation or the direction that the puncture happened. This is rubber cement. I'm not advertising for these people. This is just rubber cement that they use I've used these for tire patches and stuff, but it can also work as something of a lubricant here. But you want to find out, like if this is going straight in or if it's an angle. Yeah, it's all the way through. So this went straight in, but sometimes they go in like this or like this, and it's really good to know that now before you get started, because when you try to put that plug patch through there and pull it through, if you're trying to go straight in and it's actually in like this, that's going to mess you up. All right, well now we know what direction it's in, which is virtually straight in, so that's not a problem. We got to prep the inside. Well, I skipped ahead a little bit, but before you remove the object, it's a good idea to come on the inside and sort of mark around where it went through. This is the hole right there. So that's what we're repairing. I do this just because the instructions say to do this, but I think they're just trying to sell me more stuff, but this is called a pre-buff cleaner, is what it is. Let that dry a bit or evaporate, whatever. Now that we know that it goes straight through, I'm gonna widen the hole, and this is the quote-unquote special drill bit that I have for doing just this. So I'm just gonna drill this out. I know this looks medieval, but this step is necessary to accommodate the new tire plug. Now I'm gonna buff the rubber, roughly, actually a little bit larger than that circle. So all of this textured area here needs to be smooth in order for this to seal properly. So I have this special tool here to come in here and buff around the zone, we'll call it. Next, I'll come in with my shop vac and vacuum out all the bits. Next comes the rubber cement. And this is going to be, once again, about the same size. And it's okay if you get a little bit down in the hole there. And let that dry. You don't need to assemble it wet. You let it air dry. And in the instructions, it's kind of weird because what they say is The fumes from this apparently will sit all down in the tire, so they want you to turn it upside down, which I'm going to do anyway to install the patch, but they do mention doing that. Now that it's dry, it's time for the next step. I'm going to take the blue stuff off of my plug patch, just peels away. And I'm going to try very hard not to contaminate it, like that area in particular. Can put a little cement on it for lubricant, but once you've got it opened up, insert it through there, and you should see it poking out the top. There we are. Now that that's poking through, I'm going to take my pliers, and I want to pull on this metal part as little as possible, so as soon as it's up through and I can grab rubber, that's exactly what I intend to do. And just keep pulling it through. Because this metal part will pull out. All right, once it bottoms out, flip it back over. I can take my wheel, run it down, flush. It says to go from the inside out, but I just crisscross a bunch of times, trying to make sure that the edge is sealed. This is a coating. Just trying to catch an end of it. And that comes off, and the finishing touch, we have a sealer to go over top of that. Lastly, it's the trim, or you can trim before the next step. The important thing to remember here is not to like pull up on this, just cut it where it is with hopefully a sharp razor blade. There it is. Now that we're done with all this, the next thing to do is mount and balance the tire, or at least check the balance, and then check it for leaks. If you don't have any leaks, you're good to go. Once again, this is the repair that is quote-unquote DOT certified, so it may cost more and may take longer, but this is the repair you want over what I showed you in my previous video. Now, stating this repair is DOT certified may be a stretch, and I say this because some tire manufacturers don't want you to perform any repairs whatsoever to their tires and want you to replace it if there's any kind of damage or puncture to them. So always refer to the tire manufacturer to find out what their policies are concerning plug patches or anything like that. But as far as a tire repair, this is accepted as the best possible repair, is a better way to say it. And that's because not only does it seal on the inside, but it also fills the void created by whatever punctured that tire. Also, anything larger than a 1/4 inch should be off limits. And I should also mention, in some literature that I found, that the area of potential repair is only in this center portion of the tire. They want to make the side blocks here off limits altogether. So there's really a lot of speculation in these instances, and I realize that if you are trying to repair a tire, you're trying to save money and not purchase a new tire, I hope the information in this video is helpful, but I'll leave you one more tip, and that is if you're looking for a leak and it's difficult to find, what I use is this squirt bottle full of dish soap and water is all this is. And when the leak is found, you see a bunch of tiny bubbles coming out of that area. Another tip is you could immerse the tire in something, maybe a kiddie pool or something like that, some form of liquid, and then look for the bubbles to escape that way, and then that's how you would find the leak. But either way, I hope this information was helpful, but really you should defer to the tire manufacturer to find out what repairs are possible in your particular situation. I'll link in the description things like tools and all that other stuff that I used in case you're curious about any of that stuff. Also additional videos that may be related to this one. If you have automotive questions not covered in this video, I ask that you head to EricTheCarGuy.com, which will also be linked in the description. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this video with the rest of the world because it's so wonderful. Really appreciate it when you do that kind of thing. Anyway, be safe, have fun, stay dirty. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.